everybody? Welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel for another episode of Quick Strike. This time, the Tampa Bay Lightning get through the Nashville Predators with a dominant second period. Hold on for dear life at the end for a 4-3 victory. My name is Mike Weiss, joined as always with my co-host Jake Ricker. Jake, a very exciting game, a very exciting second period. How you doing tonight?
Michael, we got the win, so I'm doing good. It's always good when we get the win, especially after losing two straight, not being able to score for so long, especially in beating the Nashville Predators, who we haven't beaten in a long, long time, which we'll get into in just a little bit. But very happy with the Bolts' performance today. Nice to be back in the win column.
Yeah, and before we get started with our own positives and negatives and going through this game, we want to hear what you guys have to say in those comments down below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. But make sure to comment. We will respond and look at all your comments. What did you like from this game? What did you not like from this game? I hope a lot of fans have the same opinions as us, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to make conversation. We're here to talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. So again, guys, feel free to comment down below. We will respond to you guys in hopefully a decent amount of time. But we do have our own lives to get to. But Jake, a really, really solid opening period, I thought, for the Lightning. They didn't score, but they set up a lot of chances. Rene made some unbelievable saves, and you mentioned that we haven't beaten Nashville in a very long time. Well, it was a kind of a stat going around that Pecorine was 9-0-2 against the Lightning, I think since 2013. I think that was the stat that was going around. Just an unbelievable performance from him in the first period. A really, really good goalie who's tapered off a bit, but still shows up when it's the Lightning.
Right, and it looked like it was, good old Pecorino every time he plays Lightning playing, some of his best hockey in that first period. He made some fantastic games, and credit to the Lightning as well. They played a very good first period, as you mentioned. They looked really good, had a lot of opportunities. Their power play also looked really good. We're just not able to get one into the back of the net. And yeah, 7 years the Lightning had not beaten the Predators, I believe, in regulation actually, which is just crazy. The Predators are a team you think of that constantly dominate the Lightning, mostly because we don't typically play the Predators too often. But when we do, they're usually pretty good games, and it's really good to see the Lightning be able to get back into the win column against the Predators. But good start from that first period. I liked what I saw in there. I knew that the things were looking up and good. They just needed to keep pushing, and eventually the floodgates would open.
And keep pushing they did. They had an explosive start to the second period, scoring 4 goals in a matter of minutes. Tyler Johnson finally getting off the snide, actually tying the amount of power play goals he had in both of the previous 2 seasons, with one, which says a lot about him in 2018-19 and 2019-20. But it's good to see him get on the scoreboard. I think the goal a lot of people want us to talk about, though, Cal Foot, number one goal in his career. My second star of the game overall. Had an unbelievable game, whether it was offensively driving play, defensively suppressing shots. His best game as a pro, I think we could say, whether it's AHL or NHL. He looked like a vet out there. He looked fantastic.
No question. And that shot from him was absolutely beautiful. It was a rocket right from a lot of people I saw on Twitter were saying, was that Stamkos who just took that shot? Because it looked just like a Steven Stamkos slap shot from his office. But fantastic job by Calfoot today. He looked really good, even as just a regular old defender making good defensive plays. His name was called a couple of times on the broadcast, and then obviously the goal was the big moment for him in his first NHL goal. So congrats to him. I'm very excited to see how Cal Foot develops into a player here up at the NHL level. I know a lot of Lightning fans have been waiting for a little while for him to finally get up here and start making an impact, and that's happening right now. So I'm very excited to see where he can go in these next couple of games and these next couple of years with the Lightning.
Yeah, and actually, the first thing that I thought of, the first person I thought that took that shot was actually Alexander Volkov. I saw the 2 on his jersey. I'm like, oh, that's Volkov. He just got his first goal, and then I found out it was Foot. Still great all around. Volkov had a decent game, but again, uh, a lot of the Lightning players really shone out in that second period. Victor Hedman got one. New goal song for Victor Hedman. It's a little bit weird hearing that, but it is what it is. And then Steven Stamkos registering his 300th power play point, which ties Martin St. Louis for the most in Tampa Bay Lightning history. Uh, and those two guys, Hedman and Stamkos, probably had the other two like really, really solid games when it came to the Lightning. You need your leaders to lead, and they by far set the example in this game.
100%. Very happy for Stamkos today. He played an excellent game. He's been really good this year. He's looked very well. He looks like he's fully healthy, and he is playing some of his best hockey that we have seen him play in a while. Another beautiful shot. I saw some people saying on Twitter that he needed one Cal foot to show him up in his spot, so he had to get a little bit of a rocket on his own off. Stamkos actually had a couple of opportunities in this game and was just missed a couple of them too. So I'm glad he was able to get one in the back of the net and get himself on the scoreboard. I mean, Hedman as well played fantastic. I mean, but when was the last time Victor Hedman had a bad game? Honestly, at this point, he just always seems to play so well. But you're right, that second period was fantastic. And I think a big part of that was the Lightning just kept pushing. They did not give up throughout that second period. They knew they were close and they kept going. They had their foot on the gas the whole way in that second period, and it paid off in spades.
Yeah, and we have to go from the highest of highs of the second period where it looked like they played their best hockey of the 2020-2021 season to probably their lowest of lows. Like I know they still hung out and they won this game, but that third period raised two concerning questions. Number one, the team defense looked very, very poor in that third period, aside from, Victor Hedman, and I thought Foote again made some really good plays, but they were sorely missing Eric Cernak on the back end for the second straight game. Number two, Andre Vasilevsky, we had mentioned before the Carolina or during the Carolina review that he had an unbelievable track record after a loss, and he performed that way against Carolina. Well, he's coming off a loss against Nashville or against Carolina against Nashville, and he did not perform the way that you normally expect Vasilevsky to perform. And he had that first period thing where I don't know what happened, but he almost allowed a goal by not being able to clear the puck away. Had a ton of defensive turnovers behind his net. It seems like he's trying to play like Ben Bishop. Um, just as a fan talking, please don't try to play like Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop was really good at that, and Vasily, play to your strengths. That's not one of your strengths.
And Bishop himself also, occasionally did make mistakes that killed us. I won't talk about one specific that, really hurt a lot of Lightning fans. But to Vasi's credit, he played so good in that Carolina game. So despite that being a loss, I mean, it really could have been a win. He played that good himself just from his own game from that perspective. But not his best game by far, but I am very confident. Vasi always bounces back when he has a bad game. And it wasn't terrible. He did also make some very nice saves as well. So not Vasi's best game, but he's a guy that'll bounce back. And as we mentioned all the time, guys are going to have bad games. But you're right. The third period for the Lightning was not fantastic. It was not the best. What I saw, to me anyway, was it seemed like the Lightning kind of sat back on things a little bit. And, that's something they normally don't do. The Lightning are known for keeping their foot on the gas and trying to constantly keep running up the score. They've done that for the last couple of years. So, and it looked like the Lightning this time took their foot off the gas and tried to kind of let the Nashville Predators get back into this game, which is part of the problem. The good news here is that when they were interviewing Steven Stamkos on the post game of the broadcast, they recognized that they did not play a good third period, and they knew that. And it's something they've done that all year this year, is they recognize when they played a bad game. John Cooper's recognized it as well multiple times in his press game conferences. And they seem to be able to correct most of these issues every time they come back out the next time. So I don't think this is any cause for concern going forward. I think they will be able to fix those issues and continue to get better. But you're right, not a great third period. However, if they keep playing like they did in the first two periods, they're going to look really good.
Yeah, I do think that's the case. There are tons of scenarios where you can look at the Lightning, look at a lot of teams around the league, and they might have not played a full 60 minutes. That's what a lot of teams talk about, is playing a full 60 minutes, but they played good enough to win based on maybe some 40 minutes throughout the game, or if they're that good, some 20 minutes throughout the game. For the Lightning, it really just felt like it was coming crashing down in that third period. They started to get a little bit riled up by the fact that the Predators were doing a lot of things that I don't really expect from the Predators, whether it was, gooning people or taking penalties or, drawing people into fights. Eh, Someone on Twitter, I forget who it was, they said, I see that the Nashville Predators have taken the Boston Bruins spot in our annoying division rival this year. And they couldn't have been more wrong, like more right. Like the the Predators were that team that is pesky, maybe plays a little bit dirty in this game, not necessarily any questionable hits or anything like that, but they had some underhanded tactics. I cannot wait to see these two teams play again on Monday. This was a really good game overall. I'm happy that the Lightning won. There are some things that they need to tighten up, and there's some things that Nashville needs to tighten up. But overall, very, very happy with the Lightning getting the win tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be a battle on Monday, as you mentioned. I've talked about it multiple times throughout this season so far. Is that with the way this schedule is built, these games, back-to-back games, are going to be a big battle as they are. And when you get a game like this, where both the teams just seem to not like each other, and we had a ton of fights, we had a ton of penalties, which I want to get to in just a second as well. But that's going to change the way this game is going to be played on Monday by a lot. It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out, if tempers are going to be high almost immediately against the Predators. And we're going to play them a lot more, too. This is only the first series that we're having against them. So it's going to be really interesting to watch how the Lightning and the Predators, how this series continues to develop over the season. Expect these games to be hard fought, tough battles, maybe some of the Lightning's toughest game throughout this regular season against the Predators, because as it seems so far, is that these have been the toughest game for the Bolts so far out of all the teams that they have played so far. Granted, they've only played a couple of games, but Michael, I want to talk about the penalties as well. I can't remember what you said. There were a ton of penalties in this
There
game. How
were
many were
uh,
there?
there were 12 penalties overall.
12 penalties overall, which is just absolutely insane. I thought the officiating crew was not great tonight. We did end up getting the win, so I can't complain too much. But it just seemed like a lot of the calls were very soft. There were some that probably, technically are penalties, but they're just those light taps on the hand where they changed that rule a couple of years ago, and it makes it a penalty, even though a couple of years ago they would have never called that. But there were a lot of penalties tonight, and that's also partly due to the aggressiveness that we saw from both teams and the fighting that we had. Pat Maroon looked very frustrated throughout tonight. I don't know if something was said to him or if he's just frustrated overall with his play as well, but lots and lots of fighting and aggression and penalties in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, in these next couple of games again, if that's going to die down a little bit, if we get less penalties in this one, or if that was just an officiating crew thing. Lots of interesting angles to look at in this game.
Yeah, I thought that the Lightning, they kind of controlled some of the penalties that they took. Some of them, like you said, were really, really soft calls, but some of them, you need to be better when it comes to trying to take that puck away or knowing when to hit somebody after they've released the puck or trying to keep away from them away from the puck overall. Because if there's one thing that I know about the NHL referees, no matter how good or bad they may be at times, and sometimes they can be very, very bad, if it's near the puck, they're going to see it and they're going to call it. And a lot of those penalties were near the puck. Same thing with Nashville. Like they took a lot of penalties. I believe they took 7, and their penalties, a lot of them were near the puck. So I think that has a lot to do with it. You mentioned Pat Maroon being frustrated. Yanni Gord was so frustrated in that third period. He wanted to fight every single member of the Predators that were on the ice. Like those are the emotions that I think the Predators were trying to get the Lightning to take because they wanted them to take dumb penalties. They wanted them to be put in the box more than they probably should have, and credit the Lightning for not being too dumb and taking that bait, but you could tell they were visibly frustrated. I really hope that doesn't carry over to Monday's game and like games even further on, where opponents will get under their skin and they'll do something. They'll see that red mist, like Steve Dangle says. They'll see that mist and they'll do something dumb. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it does, though. Honestly, I mean, this was such a high intensity game. We could see that Yanni Gord was very close to retaliating. They talked about that on the broadcast, and then a lot of his teammates luckily were there to make sure he did not do that. But it's going to be interesting though. But overall, really good game played by the Bolts. Also, Michael, really just interesting fact. Someone was talking about this on Twitter, so I happened to look it up. People were wondering what our record was in our back in black jerseys. Actually, coming into tonight, the Lightning were 12-6 in these jerseys, so they improved to 13-6, a winning record in the black home jerseys on Saturday. So just a quick little interesting fact for y'all.
Yeah, a lot of people say we're bad in those jerseys. I don't really understand where they get that. You're wearing one right now. I have my own one in the closet, but decided to rock the home sweater for Vlad Domestikov, who's now in the Red Wings. Sorry, Vladdy, but overall, great game for the Lightning overall because they got the win. A lot of things to get better at as Monday rolls around. Jake, do you have anything else for us on this edition of Quick Strike?
That just about sums it up, Michael. I am very much looking forward to this next game on Monday. It's going to be a fun one. Very glad to see the Bolts get back into the win column. This is a tight division race right now. If you look at the standings right now, despite the Lightning only played a couple of games, but a lot of these teams right up there at 7, 8 points. Columbus is actually up at 11, but that's because they played the most games by far by anybody. So it's going to be a very fun season.
Very fun season indeed, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, feel free to like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. Comment down below who you think was good, bad, surprising, disappointing in this game. We will respond to you at some point throughout the next couple of days. Guys, also be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Bay_Bolt on every single social media platform. Twitter is our most active for news, notes, and game recaps every single game. Guys, for Jake Ricker, my name is Michael Wax. Thank you so much for watching once again. And don't forget that the Tampa Bay Lightning are Stanley Cup champions and still defending their cup.
Go Bolts.